Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. We are from Group 2 and our members are Cahyo, Alfia, Alfi, and Maya. Today, we will present our project entitled Pragmatic Analysis Speech Acts in Social Media. Our study focuses on how people use language on social media and how speech acts help us understand the meaning behind online communication. Before discussing the analysis, it is important to understand the basic concepts. Pragmatics is the study of how meaning is communicated and interpreted in context. It doesn't only focus on the literal meaning of words but also on what speakers actually intend to convey. Another important concept is speech acts, which are actions performed through language. When people make statements, give advice, express feelings, or make a request, they are performing speech acts. Social media is an interesting area for pragmatic studies because users interact, share opinions, or express emotion and respond to current issues every day. Therefore, the purpose of our study is to identify the type of speech acts used in social media posts and to examine how context influences their interpretation. Our analysis is based on Searle's classification of speech acts. According to Searle, speech acts can be divided into 5 categories. The first is representatives, which provide information or state facts. And the second is directives, which encourage someone to do something. And the third is commissives, which express commitments or promises. And the fourth is expressives, which shows feelings, emotion, or attitude. And the last one is declarations, which create changes through language. This classification helps us identify 2 communicative functions that appear in social media content. Another important concept is illocutionary force. Illocutionary force refers to the speaker's intended purpose behind an utterance. The same sentence may have different meanings depending on the speaker's intention. For example, the sentence, "Please follow the health guidelines," may function as advice, or a warning, or even a request. In addition, meaning is strongly influenced by contextual factors. According to Yule, context includes the speaker audience, topic, and surrounding situation. On social media, captions, hashtags, images, and emojis also contribute to how messages are interpreted. For this study, we collected data from 3 social media platforms, 3 posts from X, 4 posts or comments from Instagram, and 4 posts or comments from Facebook. So, everyone, the data were selected using healthcare-related keywords, particularly discussions about public health and health topics. And also, we only included public English language content and excluded advertisements, irrelevant posts, and also content containing personal information. In total, our final sample consisted of 11 posts and comments. The analysis was conducted through 5 steps. The first step is data cleaning, and the second step is speech act classification based on Yule's categories, and the third is pattern identification across platforms, and the fourth is pragmatics analysis of selected examples, and the last one is interpretation of the communication functions of speech acts.
And now, I will present the findings and analysis of our study. We analyzed 10 social media posts and comments from Facebook, Twitter or X, and Instagram. Based on Searle's classification, we found that three main types of speech acts, which is expressives, assertives, and directive. In this session, I will explain several examples along with the conceptual factors that influence their meanings. The first example is the Facebook post, which is first pet, now mice, what's next? This is classified as an expressive speech act because it expresses the speaker's feelings of frustration, concern, and anxiety about emerging health threats. Looking at the context, the speaker is an ordinary social media user sharing a personal reaction. The audience is the speaker's online community on Facebook. The topic is disease outbreak, and Facebook's conversational nature allows users to express emotions through informal language and rhetorical questions. Therefore, the meaning of this post is not to provide information but express concern. The next two examples are also expressive speech acts. The first one is love your content, but this statement expresses appreciation towards the content creator while also softening the criticism that follows. The speaker wants to remain polite while correcting information. The sample example is can we petition for you to be our Dr. Fauci? This post expresses admiration, gratitude, and appreciation towards someone who provides reliable health information. In both cases, the speakers are social media users interacting with others on Facebook. The platform encourages community engagement, making it common for users to express support, appreciation, and personal opinions. And the fourth example is from Twitter post. We are witnessing a mass immunodeficiency event post-COVID. This is classified as an assertive speech act because the speaker represents an observation as a factual statement. The purpose of the speech act is to inform readers and convince them of the speaker's viewpoint. In terms of context, the speaker is a Twitter user sharing an opinion about the long-term effect of COVID-19. The audience is the general public and Twitter's character limit the audience is the general public and Twitter's character limit encourages direct and concise communication. As a result, assertive speech acts are very common in this platform.
Now we'll be moving on towards speech act number 5. There is a real outbreak on one cruise ship. The source is coming from a Facebook post number 2. So, if there is words called there is a real outbreak, so the type of speech act is about assertive or representative, because the speaker here is asserting information they believe to be true, and they also aim to inform others about an ongoing health situation. In this case, is the hantavirus. And who is speaking? It is because this post located in Facebook, so it is of course a Facebook user sharing the information targeted towards the members of the Facebook community about reporting a disease outbreak. Next is speech act number 6. Doctors have been warned to be on the lookout for imported hantavirus case. So this time the speech act coming from Twitter post number 2. So there is types of speech act that is assertive or representative because this statement reports factual information and helps raise awareness of potential health risks. And who is speaking? Usually, this topic in X or Twitter coming from a news source or user sharing news content towards the general Twitter or X audience about public health warning. In this case, Twitter or X is chosen because it is facilitating rapid dissemination of news and updates. Next is speech act number 7. They allowed people to take commercial flights. There are confirmed cases in France and Switzerland. The post coming from Facebook And this is a type of speech act because there are words called there are confirmed. The speaker provides factual information to correct misinformation and support a particular viewpoint about a certain topic. So the one speaking is Facebook user participating in a discussion, and the recipient is other users involved in the conversation to clarify facts about a disease transmission. Why? Because Facebook enables extended explanation and fact-based discussions. Next, speech act number 8. Now the symptoms. So there are types of speech act which is known as the directive. This is because the speech act encourages the audience to learn and recognize disease symptoms to improve their awareness. Usually, the one speaking about this speech act is a health organization or health-related account, who the audience is usually Instagram users seeking confirmation about health, and about the situation is about public health education and also information. They usually do this to avoid misinformation. Why? Because Instagram usually centered around visual content with short and direct message for effective communication compared to X or Facebook. Now, we have speech act number 9. Tips to prevent oral diseases coming from Instagram posts. This type of speech act is considered directive because this statement directs readers to follow preventive health measures and encourages healthy behavior. The one speaking is usually a health information provider towards the general public to prevent disease. This is also because Instagram's infographic format supports instructional content and easy to understand to everyone.
Hello everyone, so my name is Searle and I will continue the material from Speech Act 10. So basically the Speech Act number 10 is keeping living and workspace clean. The WHO Instagram post. So basically the types of Speech Act in here is directive. So this Speech Act instruct the audience to take preventive action by maintaining cleanliness and hygiene, and the contextual factors in here is who is speaking, the World Health Organization or WHO, and then who is the audience is a global public audience, and then situation or topics is disease prevention, health protection. And then the platform features is the authority of WHO combined with Instagram visual format increase the persuasive impact of the message. So basically the contextual factor of this is like it's explaining how meaning is influenced by the speakers, the audience, the situation, and the platform features. And then for this one is actually quite unique because in Facebook usually posts are directed at the familiar community. Real community posts are specific individuals. For example, like they will start with "Hey you all," which softens the tone and makes the community highly personal. The Twitter and Instagram posts are broadcasted to a broader. So what is this? A meaning is anonymous public requiring more general and direct language. And then the platform features in here also heavily dictate how speech acts are formed. Instagram relies on visual elements and then conceive text, making it deal for bold directive. Twitter's briefly encourage urgent, direct assertive, and then Facebook allows for longer character limits, enabling complex paragraph that mix assertive, which is explaining facts, with expressive, offering reassurance. So basically, if we look at this, we will always know that this is directive because Instagram usually make it more direct. And then you can know that Instagram posts usually are concise and then more direct. So which is sometimes we want to look at the information, we need to go to the caption or the comment to know what is the context of it. Because in the post itself, usually it will just use concise and then direct to catch our attention and to make it compact and concise. And then the next is difference across platforms. So this section evaluates how speech acts are different on each platform and identifies which platform encourage certain speech acts. So the Facebook acts on this platform are highly conversational and community focused. It encourages indirect speech acts and expressiveness as users are often trying to comfort their peers so you can stop stressing or express shared frustration. So basically, Facebook is more like community based platforms. There are so many groups in Facebook, and then each group usually has certain member, and that member usually are their friend list or maybe the member of group within the other member of group. So that's why the speech acts in this community is more conversational and community focused. And then it allow expressiveness and indirect because it feels like you talk to someone, but online. So basically, it's not like Twitter or Instagram where you give the information to the audience, but it's more like you sit down together and then talk with your friends, but in the digital platform. That is Facebook. And then there is Twitter. This platform is highly direct and heavily leans toward assertiveness. And then the users utilize Twitter as an informational broadcast tool, pushing out observation or news headlines, as seen in the measles news tweets, quickly and assertively. So what it's meant by this is usually Twitter or X are become the tool of the broadcast or the headlines for the news. For example, like the previous post, you can see that there are many directness in Twitter. And then this is actually kind of true because usually people come to Twitter to look up for the news. So basically, the newest news in the Twitter are more easy to get than in the Facebook. That's why Twitter are highly direct and heavily leans toward assertiveness, and it's more like you giving someone a topic to talk about. So basically, you just go into Twitter and type it, and there you are. You get the information, and that's why the speech act in the Twitter is highly direct and heavily leans toward assertiveness. And then we got the Instagram. So in the context of public health, Instagram encourages direct speech acts, specifically directive because of its visual nature. It is frequently used by official organizations to post infographics with clear step-by-step instruction. For the example, is storing food securely. So this is the difference between Twitter. So Twitter actually give you news, but in kind of the full text. But Instagram usually use the visual nature to show the directive of the speech act. That's why it's very different from the Twitter. When the Twitter is like you give the fact, and then the direct, and then assertive. But it comes with a full text. Usually there are some image, but the image is not the main point. The main point is the argument or the center of the argument. And then from the Instagram, it's heavily put in the visual nature and the infographic. So that's why usually there's some Instagram posts that only use the headlines. And then many people will look for the context in the caption or in the comments. So that's the difference across platforms. So Facebook is for like you discussing with friends but online. That's why it's more community focused. And then Twitter is like you put the headlines but only the text. And then the Instagram usually leans towards visual and infographic. And it's more like direct, and we as the Instagram user can understand within the caption. Or we will look at the full article if you want to know what is happening in Instagram. And then this is the discussion. So the findings show that language used on social media is influenced by characteristic of each platform. Facebook encourages discussion and interaction, which is true, resulting in more varied speech acts. Twitter is often used for sharing real-time information, making assertive speech act more common. Meanwhile, Instagram focuses on visual and concise content, which promotes the use of directive speech acts that provide quick advice of instruction. And then the interesting pattern is that health-related discussions are often interconnected. Although the study focused on the hantavirus, posts also refer to other diseases such as COVID-19 and measles. This suggests that social media users and health organizations tend to use similar speech acts, especially assertiveness and directive, when raising awareness about public health issues. And then the conclusion is, finding shows that assertive were the most common speech acts mainly used to share information and opinions about the hantavirus outbreak. Directiveness were used to give advice and warnings, while expressive showed users' concerns and reaction to the situation. So this is actually kind of all connected when you see the headlines of the something in the social media. So basically, if you want to share an information or opinions, you will use assertiveness, and then directiveness were used to give advice and warning. This is usually when Instagram come from. Because Instagram usually have like the tips to avoid this or avoid that, and then the study shows that people use different speech act to share information, get advice, and express feeling on social media. Pragmatic analysis help explain the intended meaning behind this message and shows how context influence online communication. So if we just look at the text without the context of what happening, we will don't know what is the meaning of that. So if we look at the context first and we can use the pragmatic to analyze and help explain the intended meaning behind this message and show the context, we will understand what speech act they use and the meaning of the speech acts and why they use that. And that's it for our group. Thank you for watching and see you in the next progress, in the next project. And yeah, thank you.